Hey everyone, welcome to Wildlife Inspired. I'm your host, Scott Keys. Today we're going to do the quickest gimbal review I've ever done. This is the Slik SGH300. I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about it right after this. I've seen this little Slik gimbal on B&H for a while now, and I was kind of curious about it. It's $200, and I thought, can it work? $200 gimbal, can it work? The reviews weren't terrible. There's not many reviews on it. It is very small. Let me just kind of go over real quick. I'll go over the specs with you and then tell you why I'm probably not going to recommend this for wildlife. But there's one application, so stick around. There's one application actually it could be really good. So under 2 pounds, the load capacity is only rated for 10 pounds. So right away you're thinking, boy, big setup, doesn't feel too great. I don't, if you're not hiking with the equipment on there, the load ratings, I take them with a grain of salt. So I put it on here. Here's what I was curious about. It's really low profile. Now it's almost too low for my setup. You can see my lens is sitting up a little bit above. And with gimbals, that's not ideal. If you've ever seen my other gimbal reviews, you know you want that center of gravity down here. But not the end of the world. $200, not bad. The horizontal panning was fine. It sits in there fine. Here's the deal breaker for me. And I don't really get this one. It's ratcheted here, and here's what I mean by that. When I put a little bit of tension on here, it's got these like saw teeth that lock in. So when it's disengaged, it's fine, but when it starts to get here, the teeth rub each other. You can hear them. See how I can't move this? I don't know if you can hear it, but you'll see the camera like vibrating. See that? It's locked in between those saw teeth. So listen, that was enough reason for me to say right there, I wasn't even going to make the video. I'm like, no, I can't recommend this to people. Now, I told you, I got an application. Don't leave me yet. So I'm not going to recommend this for the wildlife shooter. Now, there may be, if you're doing landscapes or something, you've got a light setup, and you may like the fact that those teeth kind of engage and lock it in. I have never seen that on any of the gimbal reviews I've done. There was one that had those saw teeth. I think it had it on the bottom, though. I have to double check, but I think Sue Ray made one that had those saw teeth, but I thought it was on the bottom. If I remember it to put it down in the comments, I'll let you know. But anyway, that was kind of a deal breaker. I didn't mind it. It doesn't, listen, it's low profile. It's small. You can see how small this little base is. So not really for a heavy setup, but maybe for, if you got like a 200 to 500 or 100 to 400 or a lighter lens, I could see people being curious about this. Now, I am going to show you this. I'm going to cut this and reset this up a different way. I'm going to reconfigure this and show you how I'm actually going to use this in the field. If I can remember to record myself out there in the field with it, I will show it to you. I think it's going to work. So I normally only do this for Patreon, this like behind the scenes. I do so many of these like little equipment hacks and stuff like that. So check out that Patreon site if you've never been over there. YouTube is free. Everything you get to watch here, hundreds of videos, all free. But I do reserve some of the really good, juicy stuff for Patreon. So if you ever want that stuff, go check it out. All right, cut the video. Be back in a second. All right, so I moved the gimbal from here to here. Now, this is my mini tripod. And I've talked about this. One of my favorite accessories. I'm going to link it down below. One of my favorite accessories. I use this in lieu of a ground pod. So I used to use a homemade ground pod. But then I started using this, and I just like the versatility. There's a lot of reasons. I'm not going to get into it. But I typically use this for low-angle photography, particularly for waterfowl or ducks. Now, over on my Patreon site, I showed this a while ago. It's not really a hack, but it's just an easy way to utilize this. When you use a gimbal and you put your gear on here, your camera sits up this tall. Like it's just well above the water. And I just want to get lower. So here's what you do. Flip this upside down. Take your camera, loosen the lens collar, and hang it this way. Now watch what happens here. Adjust this down so that it's lower. There. And remember, with ducks, you don't need a lot of tilt because they're on the water. So you don't need a whole lot to tilt here. With this Slik, I told you I don't like this, so I'm going to open this up all the way so that those teeth aren't engaged. And I am now, if this is the ground, to the bottom of the lens, I'm 2-3 inches. From the middle of the lens, maybe 6. So you can't, it's hard to get much lower than this. Here's why I liked this Slik. I may actually buy and keep this. For 200 bucks, not a huge investment. The mini tripod cost about 100. So this setup right here, if you have the money, $300, dedicated duck setup, and you're done. Let me real quickly grab this other lens. I'm gonna cut and show you another gimbal real quick. I'm gonna take this off so I can show you the difference. Okay, so I took the camera off so I can just show you the difference. This is actually a gimbal by Sunway Photo. This runs $400. I got no problems with this, by the way. Made in China, both products. I mean, other than the fact that it's not made in the USA, I don't have a problem with this. It's kind of built off of the Pro Media Katana Junior design. Now, this is the one I've been using for ducks. Notice the base here. I don't know if you could see that. This one sits up. And this is when I'm dropping this down because it's hanging, the lower I can get it, the better. This one I can get about an inch lower. Now, if I'm only using it for this application, so I'm going to dedicate a gimbal for this little duck setup. For 200 bucks, it's the lowest one I can find. It's got the lowest base profile that I can find, which serves a huge advantage over something like this. So while I've been using this one for ducks, man, there's a part of me that says 200 bucks, Scott, you can afford it. Go ahead and do it. Get this little guy right here and get an inch lower. And again, it's an inch. It doesn't sound like a lot. But when you're low angle, and I've done a video on this, if you've never seen my low angle video, it shows you the difference between like 6 inches and 3 inches. And it is an amazing difference, just that 3 or 4 extra inches. So this extra inch, yeah, it matters a little bit. So something to look at. I told you it's going to be a quick review. If you're using it for wildlife, not recommended. I don't think it's strong enough. I don't like this, the teeth, the way those are set up, not recommended. If you want an application that it makes a ton of sense and actually, gosh, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure I'm going to do it yet, but I'm thinking about it. Take a look at this. And if you haven't looked at this little tripod, it's made by Sure. I love it. It folded up. You know, I use it to prop my iPhone in here, make videos, and then when I'm at the lake, it's so light and easy to carry around. This is like the best. I love this thing. All right. So anyway, that's my video for you today. If you're looking at the Slik, practical applications, what to do with it, what not to do with it. Hope you enjoyed the video as always. Hope you like these reviews. This was a quick one. Thanks for your support on the channel. Make sure you hit the little bell notification. I'll send you a notification when I put out a new video. And that's all I got for you today. And I almost forgot to say, I hope we can continue to find inspiration in wildlife together.